Welcome back. The 2022 NFL season is coming up upon us very quickly. So, as you would expect, the first and goal guys are back. Me and Sam are here. No guards to be in sight. Is anyone shocked? Not me.
I
Sam, how you
am.
doing?
Pretty good. I bet you're feeling great after that big addition by the Bears.
Huge addition. N'Keal Harry.
Huge.
See you later, New England. Hello, Chicago. 7th round pick, 2024, going the way of the Patriots, which honestly, I think for the Bears is a good trade. I mean, a 2024 7th round draft pick for a guy that was a first round pick just 3 seasons ago. It's really low risk, high reward possibilities. I like the trade.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get anything out of him, it's really worth a seventh round pick.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be a free agent after this year, so who knows? Maybe he'll love his time in Chicago. He'll resign. That would be the hope, but we'll see what happens. Other trade news in the past week: Baker Mayfield gets dealt from the Browns as expected, just to the Panthers, which I think was a surprise. I think most people had it as the Seahawks. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I don't understand that for the Browns because everything I've been hearing is Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for at least a year.
Well, Baker said he was not going to play. He was going to hold out. He said there's no way he was ever going to play for the Browns again after everything. And I can't say I blame him whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean they upgraded at quarterback obviously when they're able to play.
If he ever plays,
he's going to be able to play. It's just how dumb do the Browns look right now for trading all that draft capital and then giving him a $200 million plus fully guaranteed contract?
Yeah, the fully guaranteed part is probably the most confusing, but here we are.
I think that's the only way you would accept the trade to the Browns, though.
So I guess initial feelings on this, which by the way, this episode is going to mostly be season predictions, volume 1. Next week, we'll be back on once a week throughout the season. Once the season starts, it'll be twice a week. Who do we think is the early front runner to win the quarterback job, Darnold or Baker?
I mean, if you go off of how they played last year, I think Baker did not play well.
But Baker was injured. Let's give him credit. The season before that, he got him a playoff win.
Yeah, and I mean, his O-line's going to be trash now again.
Yep.
I honestly prefer his weapons now than what he had in Cleveland last year.
Agreed.
I think DJ Moore is a lot better than Jarvis Landry. You still have Robbie Anderson, which let's get in on Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, he had originally been asked, what do you think about Baker Mayfield as quarterback? I believe the response was hell no.
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty much the same response I would give if someone asked me if I think the Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl. Hell no. But I think that Robbie Anderson's, I think, going to regret that. I do think Baker's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a top 10 guy. He might not even be top 15. He's definitely serviceable. He's someone that you can still win with.
I think, yeah, he's someone you can win with if the roster's good if the roster's great around him.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, it looks like the Panthers are going to be pretty good. You still have CMC, which I know maybe is really not as big of a plus when you came from Chubb and Hunt. I feel like you get the same value essentially with the two of them. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's health is a big question.
I'd rather have Chubb and Hunt personally.
Well, I would probably agree just because it's tandem, and
I'd rather have Chubb than CMC. CMC, I don't think he's played a full season as an NFL career.
No, I think he did early. I don't think he has.
I think he might have his rookie year, but since then he's been injury prone.
But I think it's going to be a whole new offense. I think the wide receivers, I think that's much better than what he had. Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to look a lot like Jarvis Landry's first year with the Browns when it was also Baker's rookie year. Jarvis Landry was a PPR monster again with that team.
And this is a prove it year for Matt Rule.
Yeah. So I think nothing can go wrong here. I think that the Panthers are going to be in a really good spot. I don't think there's a chance Darnold start in week 1.
No.
Something to watch week 1, Panthers versus Browns.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a prime time game or like getting a slot where it's a nationally televised game, kind of like
Yeah, so
either
like where you
Fox's
always
game of the week
you always
or
get the Cowboys Fox game of the week.
yeah,
Yeah. I would agree. Like I would not be surprised if that's like the number one game on CBS or whatever.
yeah, same.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good bet, to be honest. Although there's also the Seahawks versus Broncos. So Russ versus the Seahawks.
I think people would rather tune in to the Browns Panthers just because both I think are going to be better than the Seahawks.
And possibly the Broncos. But yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. Other news, what else did we say we wanted to cover real quick? Oh, Zach Wilson, legend. So Zach Wilson breaks up with his girlfriend broke up with him because she found him cheating. And everyone's like, oh, who cares? He's the quarterback of the Jets. Well, then it comes out that he's cheating on her with his mom's best friend.
With his best friend's mom, I thought.
Oh, is that what it was? It was his best friend's mom, which now the best friend is also dating the girlfriend.
I believe it's the best friend's mom.
I thought it was his own mom's best friend. That would make a lot more sense because they said something about how now this guy is dating his ex-girlfriend. And everyone's calling her a homie hopper. And everyone's praising New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Barstool was going in on him this week.
Zach Wilson, if you want to be New York's quarterback, that's the way to do it, especially when your competition is Daniel Jones.
I think he's definitely the best quarterback in New York right now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Daniel Jones is the other side, so it can't be too much. The only other question would be Matt White, which I know we had our
Mike White.
Weeks. What?
Mike White.
Yeah, Mike White. All right, that tells you everything you need to know about that guy then too. Yeah, no, Zach Wilson, absolute legend. And before we get into the predictions, it sounds like Robert Quinn is going to be shipped off to the Chiefs. Unsure of what the return will be. What I was kind of hearing is it was going to be Justin Ross, who a lot of uncertainty if he's ever even going to really be able to play past this season, as well as a third-round pick is kind of what I was seeing on Twitter. But it sounds like they're going to be able to free up all that cap space. So if you're the Bears, I think that's just a win in general.
So yeah, it'd be freed up next year, I believe, just because there'd be still technically, I think, a hold.
Which next year they already have the most cap space in the league. So expect the Bears to not be great. Expect a high draft pick. We'll get into the picks. I actually have them at number 8 right now. I know that's not what national media is kind of saying. I know they're even higher in the draft, lower record. I just couldn't find enough losses, unfortunately. It's a weird season because I'm cheering for them to lose a lot of games.
Yeah.
But I do think that they kind of have the advantage of the schedule. I do think they'll be in last place in the NFC North.
Oh yeah. Did you know I just saw a really interesting fact. Kind of just staying in the NFC North. Guess who has the highest paid offense in the NFL this year?
Probably the Packers.
The Lions.
Oh, okay. Good for them. Is their quarterback still Jared Goff though?
Yeah.
So it's like, how far can you really go? I know Jared Goff did go to a Super Bowl, lost that Super Bowl, but still.
I just thought that was interesting that the Lions had the highest paid offense in the NFL this year.
Now, before we get into the predictions, let me ask you this, because we didn't really discuss this before. Do you have all 7 teams from both conferences that you know or that you think are going to make the playoffs?
Not yet.
You just take division winners?
I just took division winners.
Okay. We'll go through division winners then. And then we'll have a power rankings episode probably in 2 weeks. The first one of the season. So let's start with the AFC. I'm guessing you don't have them in order of where you think they'll be going into the playoffs.
I do not.
All right, but let's start it off with who do you think will get the AFC bye in for the represent the AFC?
I think it's the Bills.
See, I still have it as the Chiefs. The Chiefs, in my mind, are still the team to beat in the AFC. My other division winners are going to be the Bills, Colts, and Bengals in that order. Do you have anything similar?
So I have the Bengals. I think Burrow's going to Yeah, keep
I
on
think he's
going.
just
What
going
he's
to
doing.
continue to improve, to be honest.
Let's see, NFC or AFC South. Yeah, I'd probably go with the Colts just because I think Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill are pretty comparable, and I think the Colts have a better roster.
I think Matt Ryan's a huge upgrade from Carson Wentz.
Well, I agree with that. I just said I think Tannehill and Matt Ryan are like a push essentially at QB.
Okay.
And then AFC West, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Wow.
I think Carr and I'm a Derek Carr lover.
I know.
But yeah, I just think having Devontae, I like what they did this offseason, improving that O-line. And yeah, bringing in McDaniels, I think, is going to help that offense too, even more.
So then, do you
they went 10-7 last year with a minus 65 point differential.
In that division, then how many teams do you think are making the playoffs?
3.
Is the one team that's missing the playoffs the Denver Broncos?
I could either see it being the Broncos or the Chiefs.
I don't think so. But we'll see. I it's hard for me to say the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs. I have them as a 1 seed.
Okay, he's without his. I think he's without his most important weapon.
Yeah. So I mean, I did make the playoff. Like the rest of my playoffs, I have it 5 as the Chargers, 6 as the Dolphins, 7 as the Raiders.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. I think I actually had the Browns as the worst team in football, or not worst team in the AFC, tied with the Texans. So that's where I stand.
Which the Texans might be the biggest winner out of all of this.
Yeah, honestly. Into the NFC, who do you have as the number 1 seed?
I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So do I. Okay. And then the rest of my division winners in order of where I think they'll be in the playoffs: the Rams, the Eagles, the Packers.
I had that exact same. I think I don't like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, but I love that roster for the Eagles.
And honestly, I think I have it here. I have the Packers at 11-5, 12 and 5. And that's the worst of the 4 division winners. I think the Eagles will be right there. I think mine came to a tiebreaker and the Eagles pulled away. So yeah, Eagles at 3, Packers at 4. And then the rest of my playoff teams, 5 is the Vikings, 6 Cowboys, 7 Saints. So I know you didn't go that far.
I'd probably have Niners just because of Shanahan in there.
I just don't believe in Trey Lance, if I'm being 100% honest. They're already saying that he has arm fatigue.
Hey, it's early.
It is very early. That's the issue. Like he's already he's already sore.
Yeah. I mean, I can see Kyler Murray taking another step up.
When we are going into the 2023 NFL draft, who do you think has the number 1 pick?
I think it's going to be the Texans.
See, I do not have that answer. And I have a team that I think a lot of people disagree with. I have the Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, I think, will be the worst team of football this year.
Yeah, I could see that too, just because they lost Matt Ryan, who's their leader. They don't have a lot of talent on that roster. Julio's gone now.
My number 2 pick.
Calvin Ridley is also done for the season. So
my number 2 pick that was very close was the Seahawks.
I could see the Bears being the number 2 pick. I think they're going to have a bad season.
Yeah, I had the Bears at 7, like I said.
Yeah.
Or 8, sorry. Yeah, 8.
I think Justin Fields is a talented quarterback, but I don't think from what I've seen, it doesn't look like he's that great of a leader.
So the teams that I had in front of him, and I think you'll probably be able to respect this: the Jags, the Jets, the Texans, the Browns, Falcons, Seahawks, Giants.
See, the Jags, I think, can be a surprise team.
The Jags were the number 7.
I think the Jags could be a surprise team pushing for a playoff spot. They do have a Super Bowl winning head coach now. I think that's going to be big over what Urban Meyer gave them. Trevor Lawrence had another season. They brought in a lot of talent around him, actually. Everybody's kind of shitting on him for the Christian Kirk signing, but look what Devontae Adams got.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm not comparing Christian Kirk to Devontae Adams, but
No.
I think he would have gotten way more if Devontae would have signed his deal earlier.
I agree. Now let's go AFC and NFC most improved player / kind of into the fantasy world, the guy that you want to draft earlier than your friends.
Okay.
So in the AFC, I want to hear who you have first.
So fantasy player?
Let's just really call it fantasy player, because my guy that I have in mind is
for fantasy
really good
player
already.
of the year.
Yeah, like the fantasy guy that's gonna win you leagues.
I mean, I think the guy that
Mine's a wide receiver.
The Jamar Chase.
No, mine's Michael Pittman Jr.
Oh, and yeah,
I think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league this year. I think that he's going to get some of those balls that Jonathan Taylor was getting, because I think they know that they can't just run the ball as much as they did. And I think it's going to be Pittman a lot of the time that's going to get a lot of these points.
AFC, I'm going to take Hunter Renfrow.
Love Hunter Renfrow.
Because you think about it, Josh McDaniels, what he did in New England with Brady, I think he's
going to be Wes Welker.
I think he's going to try and implement that. And they're going to have to double team Devontae. Yeah. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a little bit bigger of a role. Darren Waller, I think, is going to have a good season, but I think Hunter Renfrow is just going to be a monster in the slot if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And then in the NFC, the guy that I have, who was, again, already good, but he was not top 5 to 8, I don't believe, but I think will this year, is DeAndre Swift of the Lions.
I have him in my franchise league or my dynasty league.
I think he's going to have a real good season. I think he's going to win them a lot of games.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I think a guy who's going to have a massive season, especially with Amari Cooper gone in Dallas, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I don't disagree with that. All right, AFC, NFC, biggest sophomore seasons. Not just quarterbacks, just sophomore seasons in general.
Well, I think the guy that's going to get the most media attention for his sophomore season is Trevor Lawrence.
So that's your AFC guy is going to be Trevor Lawrence?
Because he had a bad rookie season. I don't think he'd even say he had a good rookie year, but I do like how they tried to build the team around him.
I'm going Zach Wilson. MILF man.
If he did sleep with his best friend's mom, that's legendary.
We should coin that phrase right now and just put like a Jets shirt together called the MILF man with him delivering milk to the house. I mean, what better profession? The dads are all away at work. Here comes Zach Wilson to deliver the milk.
He does have a lot of free time during the week.
He does. That he does. NFC sophomore player of the year. There's one guy it should be. Well, actually, there's 2 guys it should be. It's not going to be the guy that I picked, though.
Yeah. I'm just trying to go through the rosters you say. You can say yours.
So I believe this is his second year, and if I'm wrong, then I'm confused. I'm on Ross St. Brown.
Yeah, it is.
So I think he is going to have a monster season for the Lions. But, I mean, it's going to be hard because I think that entire team is going to be better. And I think he's going to get open more, which is going to be a big part of it. I think Jared Goff knows that if he doesn't play well, they're going to be drafting a quarterback next season or signing one.
Yeah. I mean, a guy with the Eagles, I think, could have a monster second season is Devonta Smith.
Yep.
Especially with A.J. Brown now in the fold.
I mean, I would have loved for either one of us to say Justin Fields. It would have made a lot of sense if one of us said Trey Lance.
I don't actually like the young quarterbacks that much in the NFC.
No, me neither. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a good pick. I think that Devonta Smith is a great pick. But yeah, I think those 2 just make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Biggest regression, both AFC and NFC.
A team that's going to have the biggest regression?
Player.
Oh, player?
Yeah. I'll let you start with the NFC.
NFC. I mean, I think it might be Aaron Rodgers this year, just stats wise.
Okay.
Just because he does have his number one option gone. I think he does play better without Devontae, just because he's more willing to spread the ball around. But I think his stats are going to be down just because I think they're going to focus more on giving the ball to Aaron Jones and that the quad god, AJ Dillon.
Yeah. So mine's kind of an emotional pick. It's not really though, because I like this guy a lot, but I think it's going to have to be Darnell Mooney, only because he's the only weapon on this team, really. I think that he's going to get doubled. I don't think he's quite good enough to be doubled, even though I wish he was. But the fact that Justin Fields has made him priority number one, every team's going to come into the league or coming into that game knowing that. I would imagine they're just going to double Darnell Mooney. I don't think he's going to put up the numbers he had.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, Cole Kmet has to step up.
Has to. I mean,
we'll
see what Byron Pringle can do now. N'Keal Harry. It sounds like David Moore is going to get cut after his arrest.
Wasn't he cut by the Packers earlier? Oh, he was cut by the Packers late last year.
Yeah. So he got arrested for his drug and weapon charges. So I think that he's just going to get cut from the Bears. I think that's kind of part of the N'Keal Harry move. Equanimous St. Brown, I don't think he's going to be very relevant. So, yeah, Darnell Mooney, unfortunately, is going to be my regression player of the year until they can get him a legitimate number one receiver, possibly number two. And hopefully N'Keal Harry can become that for the Bears.
And then an honorable mention I have is Terry McLaurin in Washington.
Yep, that was the one I was also battling back and forth with.
Because
I think he's not think every year.
Well, yeah, he has Carson Wentz throwing in the ball, so that's going to be 1 to 2 picks a game.
He's kind of the same case as Mooney. I think that everyone knows that he's going to get the ball because he just got paid a ton. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out for him. And it's not like the AJ Brown situation where now he's going to have Devontae Smith across from him. And if Jalen Reagor can figure out how to catch a football, Jalen Reagor's there. Terry McLaurin doesn't have that. Yeah, and Dallas Goedert. Terry McLaurin just doesn't have the surrounding cast to do that.
Didn't they draft? Who they draft first round? Wasn't it? Didn't they draft a receiver first round?
Dotson.
Yeah, they got Dotson.
Yeah, so he's not one of those guys on the Eagles. Maybe Jalen Reagor, but
they're the same size.
AFC, because I will let you go because I think you know where I'm going to go.
I mean, guy who regresses. I think it's going to be Patty Mahomes.
Any reasoning?
I don't think Juju's that good of a receiver. I honestly think Tyreek Hill really opened up what Andy Reid could call.
I think Mecole Hardman does that, though.
Not Tyreek Hill level.
Yeah. Still has Travis Kelce.
I know.
I guess his numbers won't be as good. So I guess, yes, that is a regression. But I just don't. I don't know. I think that he finds a way to win.
I think Mahomes might be a better quarterback because of it, but I think his numbers are going to regress.
So mine, I think there's a lot of pressure on this guy. I think that the bright lights in LA might affect this guy, the player that's going to have the biggest regression of all. Herbert. Justin Herbert. I think that he's going to struggle this year. I can't wait for it. I do think he is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But I think that he is not as good as everyone thinks he is. I didn't like him out of college. I didn't think he was all that when they drafted him. I still don't think he's all that. Everyone complains about their defense. Their defense is there now. You have no excuse. If Justin Herbert doesn't make the playoffs, first off, there's only one guy to look at, and you can't be saying it's Brandon Staley at that point. He's been given a roster that it's almost impossible to lose with. If he even has just a slight regression, this team will still make the playoffs, but they'll get exposed when they get into that first round. So I do think Justin Herbert is the guy that's going to regress the most in the AFC. And I'm ready for all the comments. I'm ready for you LA Chargers fans, all 12 of you, to attack me and to be in my comments. Chargers fan for life says, how could you hate on this guy? He's a generational talent, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you.
You want me
All
to
right.
say something?
Justin Herbert sucks.
You do realize that the Chargers had the, I think, 5th best scoring offense in the NFL last year.
Regression.
Okay.
This guy blows.
And probably one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year.
Hey, like I said, defense is there now. Complain now. When you guys are losing games still, because Justin Herbert wasn't as good as what he was, because teams are actually going to be figuring him out. He's not Aaron Rodgers. I can tell you that right now. The fact that we're saying he's elite is way too early. The guy hasn't made a playoff.
You want to know what I heard on NFL Network?
What?
That he might be primed for the number 1 QB spot this year.
That's fine. There's going to be a lot of hype around this guy. This is what I'm talking about. This guy is probably going to melt under this pressure. And if he doesn't, all power to you guys. You guys all said I was wrong. And if he doesn't melt, then yes, I was wrong. But I'm going to die on this hill because I don't think he's all that. So that's where I am. NFC Coach of the Year, AFC Coach of the Year. Let's start with the NFC. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think NFC Coach of the Year is going to be, what's his name? I'm trying to think of the Eagles coach.
Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni.
That's who I was going to say too. I think it's going to be Nick Sirianni, especially if they win the division.
Yeah.
So easy.
I mean, they made the playoffs this year, but yeah.
The only other guy that I could maybe see getting it is Matt LaFleur. If Matt LaFleur brings this team to a 1 seed, I don't think that's going to happen.
The last 2 years.
I guess the Vikings. Who's the new Vikings head coach?
I have no idea.
If they make a good impact, I can't remember who they hired, but that would be another one that could possibly become NFC Coach of the Year, because they just needed to get over the hump, and the coach is probably a big part of it. So he could be rewarded for that. In the AFC, who do you think it's going to be? I have to look up who they hired, but
trying to think.
Oh yeah, mine's Mike McDaniel.
If
the Dolphins team makes the
Dolphins.
playoffs, I don't think there's a way to deny them.
Yeah. I think if this team can somehow manage to make the playoffs with losing Baker and having Deshaun suspended for the year, you could give it to Stefanski.
Is there a chance Bill Belichick could win this award?
I don't think so.
I don't either, but I don't know. If the Bills get the 1 seed,
I also I mean McDermott. I think if the Jags can somehow get in playoff contention, like get a wild card, you could see Peterson.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Rookie of the Year, and then it'll move into MVPs. But Rookie of the Year, NFC, who do you have?
I'm trying to go through the list. Defensive or offensive?
Let's start with offensive.
Okay. I'm trying to go through that, like who's on each roster.
Both my NFC guys are coming out of the NFC North.
Yeah.
I'll start. I have Christian Watson.
Yeah.
I just think that he's going to catch a lot of balls. He's probably going to set the Aaron Rodgers record for most passes caught by a rookie receiver, only because he's the only receiver on the team. Sometimes it seems like. Sammy Watkins is on the roster. I get that. I don't think Sammy Watkins is what he once was, but I do think he's going to be a big impact player. I think that if Packers continue, he's obviously not going to be Devontae Adams, but I think he's going to be in a good spot to possibly win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I got to think Defensive Rookie of the Year. I have it going to Kyler Gordon of the Bears. I just think that they needed so much secondary help that if he does anything, I think that there's always a spotlight on the Bears. So he kind of gets the Chicago treatment where he just gets an advantage. I would see it going to Kyler Gordon.
I'm just trying to go through the rosters right now. I'm blanking on it.
Well, while I do that, I'll just do the AFC as well. AFC, it's hard. I feel like it very well could go to Garrett Wilson with the Jets. I think he's going to be the number one receiver over there. I don't think we're really going to see a rookie quarterback. I do think Mitch Trubisky's going to win the job in Pittsburgh. So I think it's going to be a non-quarterback year for rookie of the year. And typically that means either a really, really high-end running back, which I don't think is coming out of this draft because I don't think Breece Hall is all that. So Garrett Wilson, probably for me as wide receiver. And then on the defensive side, I don't know. The defensive side's weird. I feel like it's going to be someone that you don't expect it to be. I could even see George Karlaftis, especially if the Chiefs defense looks good. Because I have a feeling he'll have quite a few sacks for the Chiefs just because there's so many other guys on that defense, especially if Robert Quinn goes over there. I think it just builds more time for him to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think defensive rookie of the year. I could see, I think this guy's going to be a monster. Is Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions.
Another guy, NFC North.
Yeah. Honestly, a guy I do like that if they can get him the football, it's another Ohio State receiver in New Orleans.
Yeah, but I feel like that's tough because Michael Thomas will be back.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think it's got to be Christian Watson, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I think Watson's going to have a little bit of a learning curve just because the offense he came from. Plus, from what I've been hearing, is Romeo Doubs has looked better in training or in camp than him.
We'll see. I don't know.
And then AFC wise, love this guy coming out of the draft. I actually wanted the Packers to take him. I think Treylon Burks in Tennessee can have a big season.
He better. He's playing with Robert Woods, but I don't know. Like Robert Woods, how much does that impact you? Cooper Kupp obviously was very productive. So.
And then AFC Defensive Player of the Year.
AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Or Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm trying to look. I mean, I could see this guy doing well, especially with Chris Jones and no, they don't have Frank Clark. No, they still do have Frank Clark, I think. In Kansas City, George Karlaftis.
Yeah, so I think he just goes into the best system for that position.
I think he's gonna put up the best numbers because of what he has around him.
Agreed. Defensive Player of the Year on both sides of the conferences. Let's start with the NFC. Who do you have out of the NFC that you would think is going to be Defensive Player of the Year?
Defense, Depoy.
Yeah.
I'll go with the old reliable Aaron Donald.
Yep. I mean, like that's the easiest one. He decided not to retire. He's still going to be on a really good team. I think he gets number 4?
Yeah.
Or is
I
this
think
5?
probably 4. I don't know at this point. It's the same thing that JJ Watt had in his career.
Yeah, then they're both at 3. This would be number 4. I think that's the easy choice. I would imagine he's the Vegas favorite. And then out in the AFC, who do you think it's going to be?
AFC?
Yeah. I think.
Joey Bosa.
See, mine's on the same defense. I think Khalil Mack returns to form. And as long as he stays healthy, I think the Chargers will get a Defensive Player of the Year. So, wow, look at us saying two different Chargers. Huh?
I mean, I'm not a hater.
What?
I don't hate the fan base.
I hate the fan base. I can't wait to see these comments. MVP award. This is the last one for us.
Joe Burr.
You think it'll be Joe Burr?
Either him or staph infection.
I would love to give it to Joe Burrow, honestly. I do think that'd be great. I have Josh Allen, though.
Yeah, I just think they still have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase another season. And
Tyler
again,
Boyd's still there.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd.
Who's their tight end
Still,
now, though?
I have no idea.
Because Uzama's gone, right?
Yeah, he's on the Jets.
I don't know who their tight end is.
They improved that O-line around him a lot.
That's going to be the big thing is they really improved the O-line. That's why Joe Burrow could easily win MVP this year.
Yeah, if they can stay relatively healthy around him, I think people.
Oh, Hayden Hurst.
That's not bad.
No, that's pretty good, to be honest. I didn't think CJ Uzama was amazing. I think it just helped that he had those three around him.
Yeah. I think he has a lot of weapons. I think that defense has improved too.
Yeah.
And if he can play like how he did in the playoffs at all, I'll give it to Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think Josh Allen's a good pick. Always, Tom Brady.
I think dark horse could be Kyler.
Yeah, but they got to make the playoffs.
I mean, they made it last year.
Yeah, but
they also
he has to play well without DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, they just have to go over 500 at home.
That's true. All right, I think that's all the awards. Next week, we will come back. We'll do more news. I have a feeling it's going to be a big NFL week. We'll go through all types of different news. We'll then, the week after, jump into power rankings. And then I believe the week after is the first week of preseason in early August. So
yeah, I think the Hall of Fame game.
We'll try to get Garrison on here pretty soon, give us some fantasy football advice. He is our new Matthew Berry, which, by the way, if you guys didn't hear, Matthew Berry has now left ESPN. So if you use the ESPN app, I don't know who you're going to be getting advice from. I also recommend just leaving the ESPN app. No sponsorship here. I'm going to switch to Sleeper. I enjoyed it the most last year. So that's the app it seems to be. Matthew Berry starting his own platform, I believe. Not sure how that'll do, especially since his predictions were very off for the last couple of years, in my opinion. And we'll go from there. So next week, we'll see you guys. This is recorded July 12th. It'll be released July 13th. Same thing for next week. Record July 19th, release July 20th. So we're back on the horse, baby. And if you guys, Sam, do you have any last words for this episode?
Happy to be back. And if you're into MMA, go check out the Ground and Pound podcast. We should be recording an episode tomorrow night.
Couple episodes, it sounds like, with interviews.
Yeah, but we should be recording a couple episodes here soon. Go check out our recap of the last pay-per-view. We'll be recapping this last fight night card, which it was a pretty good fight night card.
It was.
So,
all right, guys, we'll see you guys later. And if you live in the state of California and you're a Chargers fan, all 12 of you, you all suck. See ya.